So today's session will provide a unique opportunity for each of us to learn from experienced business executives representing companies large and small about the opportunity to grow business in Colombia. We're delighted that Governor Patrick is able to join us to kick off this event today. The governor has been an unfailing supporter of international trade throughout his administration, having led previous trade missions to China, Israel, Great Britain, and Brazil. The Patrick administration clearly recognizes that for the Massachusetts innovation economy, trade is an effective economic development tool to retain and expand well-paying jobs for our residents. So please join me in welcoming Governor Deval Patrick.
Thank you very much, Rick, and thank you to, let me just say publicly, to Kristen, who was just a superb partner. She's fun to travel with too, by the way, but a superb partner in helping to plan this and previous trips, and she represents AIM beautifully overseas. We appreciate very much your partnership. Thank you both for organizing today and everybody for coming out. You heard really from Rick and before him from Maria Claudia about all the reasons why you should be interested in Colombia and why we saw the opportunities that we did. I'll just say simply a couple of comments, and I think we have some time for questions, right? You may ask the questions, they will answer the questions, and I will be the conduit, I guess. But I think you all know our growth strategy here in the Commonwealth is based on three things: on education, on innovation, and on infrastructure. It's a winning strategy. We have lots of proof points for why that's a working strategy for us in the here and now, but also over time. And we have been looking to form relationships in other economies that have a complementary or similar strategy for growth, and Colombia is one. Colombia, indeed, is one of three countries with which, in Latin America, with which we have very intentionally and deliberately developed relationships. They are the three fastest growing economies in Latin America, Chile and Brazil being the other two. And as I say, very, very complementary. On this trip, in the education space, I'd say we spent time at the University of the Andes, where there's a great emphasis also on technology and on the life sciences. In the innovation space, we signed an agreement with an organization called Conciencias, which I will describe this way. If you can imagine mass development, the Life Sciences Center, the Mass Tech Collaborative, the Clean Energy Center, all mashed together as one government agency with, what is it, 5 or 10% annual disbursement from the oil and gas? 10% annual disbursement from the oil and gas revenue. That is a powerhouse of an organization. And we signed a trade agreement with them. I think I'm right that Conciencias is having the first representative in the United States based here in the consulate in Boston. In order to help us build, frankly, you build on that opportunity. Impulsa was another organization we visited, which is a startup accelerator, the complement of Mass Challenge. We met some extraordinary, smart, engaged, really promising entrepreneurs, in some cases serial entrepreneurs there. There have been at least 2, I think, reverse delegations since the time of our trip, one just last week. Was here, so that's a vibrant and continuing growth opportunity in the innovation space. And finally, infrastructure. Well, you heard Maria Claudia talk about some of the communications challenges in Colombia today. There are also, I think, road challenges, particularly, I think, from Bogota going out to... Well, everywhere. Okay. Everywhere. That may explain why in the first 48 hours when we were visiting a couple of more remote communities, we were on 12 different flights. Yeah, that's the story. Maybe we can get to that in the Q&A. But beyond that, you know, it's not just what we can offer in terms of expertise and resources. Colombia boasts in Cartagena probably the best, or one of the best ports in the world. One of the best managed, one of the most effective and efficient, and we have a lot to learn from them.
First, let me start to give it a little bit of context of what Colombia means in numbers. One thing is our GDP. For last year, we have 2 days ago our entity that provides the numbers told the President Santo that we have a GDP of 4%, which we thought was going to be 3.5, which is great news for the country. Last year, in 2011, we have a GDP of 4.3%, which was higher from Latin America, which was 3.2%. Unemployment rate, 10.4%, which on the previous year and last year was close by 9.2%, which is an increase or decrease in the employment rate that we were looking for last year. We are the fourth largest producer of oil, 1 million barrels per day of oil production. The investment and export figures also rise substantially. We had record figure last year. In export, we had 60.6 million export service of goods and services. And in investment, we have more than $16 million, which was an increase of 11% when we compare it to the previous year. The inflation is a controlled inflation of 2.4%. So in a context, Colombia is actually a country that is increasing, developing, and is providing good numbers for any investor that will come to our country.
Colombia is a market you cannot not be in. Is it the right double negative anyway? But it's we started in 1953 with 20 employees, and today we have more than 500. 60% who are women, including our Pfizer Colombia General Manager. We're very proud of that. Gender diversity and gender equity is a very important principle for Pfizer. We have offices across 13 cities, and we commercialize about 100 different products in Colombia. But that's not all that we do. We are full partners with Colombian society. We work to educate doctors, we work with universities, we work to expand access to Colombians in remote parts of the country. We invest in clinical trials. We are not just the subsidiary of a U.S. multinational, but we really see ourselves in Colombia as a Colombian company.
But we have two security technologies that we have brought to the market. We're getting very modest traction in the United States, but we actually got a call from a party in Colombia. And long story short, since 2009, we've now been manufacturing this badge right here for the Colombian National Police, or Policía Nacional. And that has been very significant for us as a company because our domestic market went flat and actually shrank quite a bit over the last 4 years. Our growing success in Colombia, broadened our horizons. We said, geez, if security is such a concern in Colombia and they find use for our product, why not Mexico and other countries, particularly in Latin America? And partly through being on the other side of the table, I've learned a lot about how to do business internationally, and other colleagues from my company by coming to events just like this. And we now are growing very rapidly in Mexico and in other countries in Latin America, including Brazil.